A very good morning to all of you. Today I'm going to discuss about different pre-processing techniques, pre-processing methods that can be applied on the satellite images for urban area mapping, urban area classification. Okay, so before starting the topic, first we should know what is image pre-processing. So as all we know that satellite images are available from various sensors that can be used for urban planning, urban mapping, urban growth modeling, urban growth analysis. Any kind of urban change studies or urban studies can be done, can be performed using satellite images that may have different characteristics. But before going for any analysis of the satellite images for any kind of application, we have to perform some pre-processing. Okay, so the pre-processing of satellite images prior to image classification and change detection is essential. Okay, the pre-processing commonly includes a series of sequential operations that includes the atmospheric correction, image registration, geometric correction, and masking. So suppose if you want to study the urban growth over the period of 30 years or 40 years, for that you need to have multi-temporal data sets. So in this kind of change detection analysis, we need to perform atmospheric correction because the images acquired at different dates or different time may have different atmospheric conditions. So we have to atmospherically corrected all the images before doing any change detection or before doing any urban growth analysis, because different images at different time, different year may have different atmospheric conditions. So we can work on the atmospheric correction, or you can say the normalization of the pixel values or normalization of the spectral response that can be captured by the sensor. So pre-processing includes all these operations like atmospheric correction, image registration, geometric correction is also required if you are using multi-sensor data sets. So you need to have the geometrically corrected images, means both the images should have the same geometric information, should have the same coordinate system. If the two images are not matching with each other, so it is not possible to perform any change detection, it is not possible to perform any urban growth analysis or modeling. So it is also required to have geometric correction so that all the images, all the multi-temporal images may have the same kind of you can say the spatial reference system that may have good, that may be very useful for getting the geometric alignment of the features, geometric alignment of different urban features. And masking is also required in some cases if you are having the images with clouds. So you need to have cloud masking, or other kind of masking is also important. So image processing includes all this kind of processing: atmospheric correction, then geometric correction or masking. Okay, so the normalization of satellite images, like when we are going for that atmospheric correction, so it's a kind of normalization. The normalization of any satellite images takes into the account the combined or measurable reflectance of the atmosphere, aerosol scattering, and the absorption. The atmosphere includes the variation between the reflective values or signal or digital numbers of satellite images acquired at the different times. Okay, because when we are going to use multi-temporal satellite images, so definitely the images are acquired at different time, different year. So it is not necessary to have the same kind of reflectance pattern, same kind of digital number values when we are going to use the satellite images of different dates. So for removing or for overcoming the problem of this, the variation in the reflectance value of multi-date satellite images, we need to perform normalization. Normalization performs to get the normalized value for all the images. For that, we need to perform atmospheric correction. That atmospheric correction is important to reduce the effects of scattering or absorption that can be done in the upper atmosphere. Okay, so it is an important component of satellite image processing when we are going to use the satellite images for any kind of urban growth mapping or urban growth modeling, urban growth analysis, or change detection. Okay, now moving to the next slide. So but what happens there, the effect of the atmosphere upon the remotely sensed images are not considered as the error in some cases, because when the signal or when the electromagnetic radiation coming from the sun and reaching to the earth surface, so definitely they have to pass through the atmosphere. Okay, so we cannot avoid this kind of problem, but only way we are having to atmospherically corrected the images, because when the solar radiation coming from the sun and it reaches to the earth surface and interacts with the objects, and again it will be reflected back and captured by the sensor. So the signal, or you can say the radiation, have to pass the atmosphere two times, while once it's coming and while it is going. So we cannot avoid this kind of phenomena, but we can reduce the effect of atmosphere, because definitely when it comes to the atmosphere, or the satellite or the sensor receives the reflected energy, definitely it is having some effects of the atmosphere, but we cannot completely reduce the effects, and we can have the options of atmospheric correction to correct the images up to some extent, so that it can be used for different purposes. Okay, so the goal of the atmospheric correction should be that the following image pre-processing, all the images should appear as they are were required from the same sensor. Okay, so this atmospheric correction is very important when we are going to compare, or when we are going to use multi-date images for any kind of change detection analysis or change detection studies. Also, subsetting of study area is also important, as we know that satellite image is very large. One scene of Landsat image is very large, and if your study area is small in comparison to the large scene of Landsat, so we need to perform the subsetting of the study area. Subsetting can also be considered as a part of image pre-processing. We need to extract the study area. We need to extract our desired study area on which we are going to work. So this is a kind of subsetting of study area. There is an option of subsetting available in softwares. So you can perform subsetting using options in the softwares. Okay, so the pre-processing procedure, before the creation of the minimum images, the pre-processing must occur. The pre-processing procedure includes the collection of the satellite images, the downloading, the unzipping, then executing the pre-processing algorithms through the NV software or any other software. Then we can check the final pre-processed satellite images, and after that we can execute the patch procedure where it is necessary. So this is, there are total 6 procedures that is involved in the pre-processing. Okay, so the pre-processing procedure, once this pre-processing procedure is completed, an image containing cloud, surface reflectance, and aerosol reflectance is created. Now, what is speech pre-processing? Once the raw images or the satellite images acquired from the sensor in the digital format has been acquired, it is then processed into usable information. The analog film photograph are chemically processed. So in the starting time, generally most of the aerial photographs in the analog format or in the hard copy format are used. They are processed through some chemical processing, and where the digital images are processed within the computer. So when we are using analog photographs or any hard copy photographs, so you need it is needed to be chemically processed in a dark room, whereas the digital images can directly be processed within the computer, and the processing of the digital data involves the changing the data to correct for the certain types of distortions. So whenever the data is changed to correct for one type of distortion, the possibility of the creating another type of distortion exists. Okay, so the major goal of pre-processing is to reduce the distortions, to reduce the errors, or to rectify the errors present in the images. Okay, so the changes made to the remote sensing images or the satellite images acquired from different sensors involves two major operations: pre-processing and post-processing. What is pre-processing and what is post-processing? Like pre-processing is the steps of a remotely sensed images that are generally performed before the post-processing, like the subsetting, enhancement, extraction, and analysis of the information from the satellite images. Okay, typically it will be the data provider who will be processes the images data before delivering. So all whatever the data you download from the USGS, like Landsat TM, Landsat 8, these data are already pre-processed. Okay, they process that data before delivering to the normal user. So whatever the data you download from the USGS website or Earth Explorer website, the data sets are already pre-processed. Means most of the errors can be rectified before delivering the data to you. Okay, but in some cases you need to perform pre-processing after downloading the data when you are going to compare multi-date data sets or multi-temporal data sets. The pre-processing of images data generally will include the radiometric correction and geometric correction. Some errors can be rectified before the data delivery, but after data downloading, you need to perform in some cases, that is atmospheric correction and geometric correction, or you can say radiometric correction. Atmospheric correction is generally a part of radiometric correction. Okay, so there are two major corrections that is required to perform on the satellite images: radiometric correction and geometric correction. The atmospheric correction is a part of radiometric correction, and geometric correction is used to rectify the errors in the alignment of the objects on different images. Okay, so this is the flowchart showing the processing of the original images. Then we perform the pre-processing, then image interpretation can be done, then we can have some useful information, land cover information. After getting some information, we can use that information to create GIS database, and then we can use it for several applications, for several uh, you can say the studies. Okay, so radiometric correction, what is radiometric correction? So the radiometric corrections are made to the raw digital images. Whatever the digital images you have downloaded, it can be done. There is requirement of the radiometric correction to correct for the brightness values. Sometimes the satellite images are having overestimated and underestimated brightness value because of the, it may be because of the atmospheric interference, it may be because of this sensor problem, it may be because of any other technical problem in that system or satellite. So the radiometric correction is generally performed to correct the brightness values of the object on the earth that has been distorted because of the sensor calibration. Sometimes sensor doesn't work properly. Sometimes sensor captures the reflected energy which is overestimated or underestimated. So in that case, there is a problem of the values in the brightness or the pixels of that object. Okay, so the distortion of the images is caused by the scattering of the reflected electromagnetic light that is due to the constantly changing atmosphere. Atmospheric particles are changing, the distribution and the concentration of atmospheric particles are changing day by day. So there may be the problem of the scattering. The scattering of the reflected energy may cause some error in, or it may cause some distortions in that images. So this is the one source of sensor calibration error. So these kind of errors can be rectified, these kind of errors can be reduced, can be overcome by performing the radiometric correction. Okay, so what happens in radiometric correction? So the radiometric corrections is performed on the radiance. Radiance is the incoming radiation, incoming energy that is captured by the sensor on board on the satellite. So the radiance measured by the any sensor over a given object is influenced by the change in scene illumination, atmospheric condition. These are some factors that affect the radiance, that affects the energy captured by the sensor. There may be the changes in the illumination angle of the sun, there may be change in the atmospheric condition. Sometimes there may be the high concentration of the atmospheric particles, low concentration of the atmospheric particles. There may also be change in the viewing geometry. Okay, and there may be some cases, there may be the problem because of the sensor instrument. Sensor doesn't work properly, or it works in a wrong way, or there may be some system malfunction. So these are some kind problems. These are some factors that affects the radiance measured by any sensor. So that these errors caused by the factors shown here is performed, is reduced by performing the radiometric correction. So radiometric correction also includes the sun elevation correction and earth sun distance correction. Haze compensation can also be done under radiometric correction. Okay, so under radiometric corrections, we need to perform noise correction. Noise corrections are kind of random problems, random noises present in the system. Sun angle correction is performed for the comparison and mosaic the images that is acquired from different time of the year, because we know that the images acquired in different years, in that case the sun angle may have different. So for that, for correcting the errors caused by the sun angle, we perform the radiometric correction. There may be the radiometric correction. We may perform the radiometric correction because of the errors caused by the atmospheric scattering. So for that, we need to subtract the digital values, digital numbers having some haze, having some problem from the normal DN values. So we can reduce the effects of the haze on the pixels. So the radiometric correction can be done to address the problems caused by the sensor, caused by the atmospheric effect. Atmospheric effects include the background, the absolute correction, the relative correction, or topographic effects. Noise removal is a kind of atmospheric correction. It's a kind of, you can say, the radiometric correction performed on the satellite images. So image noises in any unwanted disturbance. These are the random problems, random disturbances in the image data that is due to the limitation of the sensing, the signal digitization, or the data recording process. So the major source of such kind of error, the major source of such kind of noise is the interference phenomena. Interference phenomena is the composition of the two electromagnetic signals, two electromagnetic radiation from when they superimpose with each other. Okay, when two electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic signal superimpose with each other, it causes the error of the interference. So it can either degrade or totally mask the true radiant information content of a digital images. Noise removal generally involves any subsequent enhancement or classification of the image data. Okay, so another kind of problem or another kind of error that may be in the satellite images are line stripping. Sometimes you see there may be some black lines, or you can say these are the kind of errors that can be done because of the malfunctioning of the sensor. When sensor doesn't work during the image acquisition, so there may be the line that is black line or strip in the satellite images. So that strip is a kind of error. So that is related to the pixel values, so it comes under the radiometric correction. So line stripping or banding means sometimes when sensor doesn't work during the image acquisition, there may be the black line on the satellite images. So this kind of error is known as line stripping. So for removing this kind of error, for removing these kind of distortions, we perform de-stripping process. Using de-stripping process, we can easily overcome the problems caused by the line stripping. So the line stripping occurs due to non-identical detector response. When detector doesn't respond properly, or when detector does not work, in that case there is a problem of line stripping. So although the detector for all the satellite sensors are carefully calibrated, but before after the launching of the satellite, there may be some problem because of the system malfunction or because of the not functioning of the detectors, that may drift to the higher or lower values, resulting in the relatively higher or lower values along every sixth line in the image data. So the line stripping is corrected using histogram per detector. These kind of errors can be easily rectified. Line dropout, when one of the detector of the sensor doesn't work or it stops functioning. So in that case, a loss of one of the detector would result in every 16th scan line being a strip or zero that would plot as a black line on the image. The line dropout, line stripping, de-stripping, these are the errors caused by the system malfunction or not working properly. So the dropped lines are normally corrected by replacing the line with the pixel values in the line above or below. So the line which is not having any value or zero value, it may be replaced by some line above or below that line, and eh, the pixel having zero value will be replaced with the average of the pixel value from the above line and the below line. So in that case, the component of a remote sensing system that converts the electromagnetic radiation into a recorded signal. So these are some errors caused by the system malfunction detector when detector doesn't work properly. Sun angle correction is also important. Okay. When we talk about sun angle correction, an absolute correction involves dividing the digital values in image data by the sine of the solar elevation angle. So using this formula, we can correct the errors caused by the sun angle. The formula is dn correction is equal to dn upon sine alpha. Sine alpha is the angle at which angle the solar radiation interacts with the Earth's surface or object on the Earth. So by using this equation, we can easily correct the problems caused by the sun angle. Haze reduction is also a kind of radiometric correction. In some cases, the aerial photographs and satellite images having some kind of haze. So the presence of the haze reduces the contrast of the image or brightness of the image. So it also affects the visual interpretation of the image. It is difficult to visually interpret the images when there is a haze in the satellite images. Okay, so this haze is caused due to the Rayleigh scattering. In that case, the particle size is responsible for that is smaller than the radiance wavelength. So haze has an additive effect resulting in the higher DN values. It is wavelength dependent problem. So scattering is more pronounced in the shorter wavelengths and negligible in the near infrared band. So shorter wavelengths having most probability to having the haze problem, because the shorter wavelengths is scattered more in comparison to the longer wavelengths. So when we use shorter wavelengths for acquiring the images, there may be the problem of haze due to the scattering, that is Rayleigh scattering. Okay. Now after that, second kind of corrections that can be performed on the satellite images are geometric correction. So the geometric corrections are made to correct the inaccuracies between the location coordinates of the picture elements and the actual location coordinate on the ground. So there are different kinds of geometric corrections that include the system correction, precision, and the terrain correction. So when we compare the satellite images, when we compare the location of any object on the satellite images with the location of that object on the ground data, so we need to match the coordinates of the picture element in the image with the actual location of that object on the ground. So if there is some kind of if the both the coordinate doesn't match with each other, if the location of the object having some different coordinate and the object having some different coordinate in the real world or on the ground, so this is known as geometric errors. So to removing these kind of errors, we perform geometric correction or geometric rectification. Okay. So in this the system corrections uses a geographic inference point for a pixel element such as they provided by the global positioning system. The corrections accuracy often varies depending on the accuracy of the position that is given by the global positioning system. For getting the actual position on the ground so that we can match it with the position on the satellite images, we need to use the GPS coordinates. So the coordinates, or you can say the latitude longitude information of an object in the real world, can be captured by some global positioning system so that we can easily match the actual coordinate on the ground with the coordinate observed on the satellite images. Geometric rectification of the satellite images resembles the changes in the pixel grid to fit of the map projection. This becomes especially important when scene-to-scene comparison of the individual pixel is required. Okay, for some cases, like I have already discussed, for change detection analysis, we are going to compare multi-temporal images. We are going to compare the land use, land cover, or urban growth in urban area mapping, urban area at different images. So when we are going to work on scene to scene comparison for any kind of change detection analysis, any kind of urban growth analysis, in that case, if there is a geometric errors, if there is any kind of geometric distortions in the satellite images, so it doesn't work properly. So in that case, we need to perform geometric correction. Okay. So this is the way we can perform the geometric correction. The raw satellite images, the raw Landsat image is like that, and after performing the geometric correction, its shape will be tilted, will be little bit tilted. So now we can have the geometrically corrected or geometrically rectified satellite images after performing the geometric correction. So this is the way we can perform the geometric correction or geometric rectification on the satellite images. As it is already discussed that subset of study area is also a kind of processing steps. In some cases, the images are much larger than the study area. So it is important, it is very much useful to reduce the size of the image file to include only the area of study. This not only eliminates the extraneous data in the file, but it speeds up the processing. So when you process the larger data sets, it will have some time, but when we have the smaller data sets, it will have some smaller time to process, and your file size will be small. So this is very important when utilizing the multi-band data such as Landsat TM imagery. So this reduction of the data is known as subsetting. So when we extract the required study area from the larger scene of the Landsat, this is known as subsetting. So this reduction of the data is known as subsetting, and the process cuts out the preferred study area from the image scene into a smaller, more manageable file. So the geometric errors may be of two types. It may be of two types, that is internal geometric error or external geometric error. So internal geometrical errors and external geometrical errors having different source of origin. It is important to recognize the source of the internal and external errors and whether it is systematic or non-systematic. So geometrical errors or geometric errors may be internal or external type errors. It may be systematic or non-systematic. We can also call it as predictable and non-predictable or random errors. Systematic geometric errors is generally easier to identify, and we can easily correct these kind of systematic geometric errors in comparison to the random geometric errors. These are some kind of systematic errors: scan skew distortion, earth rotation effect, the platform velocity, mirror scan velocity, panoramic distortions, perspective distortions. These are some systematic errors, and it is very easy to rectify these kind of systematic errors because these errors are predictable errors. Systematic errors can also be known as predictable errors. These are very easy to identify and very easy to rectify from the satellite images. Okay. Now, after geometric correction, there is also, in some cases, we need to perform the image enhancement. Okay. So image enhancement is the alteration of the satellite images in such a way that the information contained in the image is easier to visually interpret or systematically analyze. Sometimes we are having poor quality satellite images. Sometimes we are having low contrast satellite images. So in that case, we need to perform image enhancement so that the image quality will be improved, and we can be so that it can be easily interpreted, or we can perform visual interpretation. So these are the types of image enhancement: radiometric enhancement, spatial enhancement, and spectral enhancement. There are three kinds of enhancements. We can enhance the radiometric information, we can also enhance the spatial information, and we can also enhance the spectral information depending on the requirement, depending on the need. Radiometric enhancement compensates for the inadequacies in the image contrast, like the image, if it is a too dark or too bright or too little difference between the brightness of the features in the image. The attempts to optimize the distribution of the pixel values over the radiometric range of the images. Radiometric enhancement is performed when the pixel is too dark or when the pixel is too bright. Okay, so these kind of errors can be rectified. These kind of errors can be removed by radiometric enhancement. Radiometric enhancement often increases the contrast of image pixels while decreasing it for others. Okay, it reduces the contrast of the image pixel, but maybe they decrease some other properties in the satellite images. So there are different kinds of radiometric enhancement: linear stretching, piecewise linear stretching, histogram equalization, or non-linear stretching. So depending on the need, depending on our requirement, we can use any of the radiometric enhancement technique. Either we can go for linear stretching, the non-linear piecewise stretching, or histogram equalization or non-linear stretching. So in linear stretching is the simplest method, most widely used method that expands the range of the original pixel value to a full radiometric range of the image. So what happens in linear stretching? Suppose initially your image is having a range of the pixel value from suppose 50 to 100. Okay, but if your image is of 8 bit, so its range should be 0 to 255. So the actual range, that is 50 to 100, will be expanded to the bit information extended to the entire radiometric range of the image, that is from 0 to 255. So linear stretching is the simplest method. It is widely used method that can be used to expand the range of the original image, the pixel value of the original image, to the full radiometric range of the image, because we know that each and every image is having some radiometric range. This 8-bit image, when we are working on 8-bit image, its radiometric range will be 2 to the power 8. When we are using 10-bit image, its radiometric range will be 2 to the power 10. If we are using 16-bit images, its radiometric range will be 2 to the power 16. Okay, this is the full radiometric range of the image. But when sensor captures the energy, when sensor captures the electromagnetic radiation coming from the earth surface, so it's not possible that it works on the full radiometric range. It may have some lower radiometric range, like it may have the range from 100 to 200, it may be range from 50 to 150, it may be range from 50 to 200. It doesn't work on the full radiometric range. So what happens in linear stretching? We perform some enhancement to expand the range of the original pixel value that in that image to the full radiometric range of the image. Okay, so this linear stretching, linear contrast stretching is best applied to the image where pixel values are normally distributed. The important component of linear stretching is that your pixel values should be normally distributed. Normally distributed means the pixel values of that image should follow these kind of trend, this kind of pattern. If the pixel values in that image is having these kind of trend, these kind of pattern, these images are known as normally distributed pixel values that will have the exact peak, and on the both side of the peak there may be the exact shape, there may be the equal distribution of the pixel values. If the pixel values of a image is having such kind of distribution, such kind of normally distributed pixel values, so we can easily perform linear stretching so that we can expand or stretch the range of the original pixel value to the full radiometric range of that image, either it is 8 bit or 10 bit, 12 bit, 16 bit, anything can be done. Okay, so this is about the linear stretching. Now next one is, okay, yeah, so in this figure you can see how it works. So how we can do linear stretching? Suppose in the first figure you see the pixel values are ranging from suppose 32 to 96. So this is the you can say this is the pixel value, this is the range of the pixel value in the original image, that is from 32 to 96. But actually this image is of 8 bit, so its pixel values, its range of the pixel values should be between 0 to 55, 0 to 255. It means it is 8-bit image, so the entire radiometric range is about 0 to 255. So what happens? Actually the image is having this kind of range, radiometric range, and after linear stretching, after performing some linear stretching, now this value 32 to 96 will be expanded throughout the range, that is from 0 to 255. That is the linear stretching. So the original pixel values, the original range of the pixel values is now expanded, is now stretched up to the full radiometric range of the image, as this image is of 8-bit, it means it is having full radiometric range of 0 to 255. So actual range will be now expanded up to 0 to 255. So this is the way we can perform linear contrast stretching by having minimum maximum values of that satellite images. So this is very easiest, very simplest way to perform linear stretching, that is a part of contrast enhancement, or you can say the image enhancement. Now moving to the next slide, here you can see the effect of the stretching, linear stretching on the satellite images. In the first image, this is the original image. So you can see this is very dark, there is not much details are visible. But after performing linear stretching, its quality is improved. Now it is having good contrast and it is easy to interpret. So before stretching and after stretching, you can see the differences between both the images. So in some cases, when the image is having low visibility or it is not much of good quality, so we can perform linear stretching so that we can have the good quality images with good contrast and good brightness value. This is minimum and maximum linear stretching. Example on these light images. Okay. Now, second kind of linear stretching is piecewise linear stretching. So under piecewise linear stretching, we perform the stretching for enhancement of a specific range of the pixel values. In linear stretching, we perform the enhancement over the entire image. But if we want only to enhance particular range of pixel values, then we use piecewise linear stretching. Under piecewise linear stretching, we only expand the range of a specific pixel value. It is known as piecewise linear stretching. This is an example, this is a figure showing the piecewise linear stretching. So we are not expanding the entire range of the pixels, we are only expanding the pixel values within this range. So the slope of the linear contrast enhancement changes. The piecewise contrast stretching, sometimes referred to as the breakpoint, we break the entire range of the radiometric information. We break the or we distribute the entire radiometric range into different parts, and now we apply linear stretching on a specific part as per our requirement. That's what is known as piecewise linear stretching. Now, piecewise linear contrast stretching, as the contrast is changed in one range, it will affect the contrast in another range. Okay. For example, if the contrast of the low range increases, the contrast of the middle range will decrease. So it allows for more control over the contrast of the section of the image histogram, that is useful for shadow area and any other mountainous region. So in piecewise linear stretching, in some cases there may be the problem when we enhance the contrast of a specific range, there may be the possibility that the contrast of other ranges of the pixels will decrease. So we need to have more control over this kind of contrast stretching. Okay. So for that, we need to perform histogram equalization. That is a kind of non-linear stretching. It's a kind of non-linear contrast stretching. The histogram equalization works on the redistribution of the pixel values so that there are roughly the same number of pixels with each value within a range. It is well applied, it is well useful, it is very much useful for applying on the greatest contrast enhancement at the peaks of the histogram. So this is the example of histogram equalization. Initially, the histogram of the pixel or histogram of the pixels of that image is like that. This is a peak and this is a tail. And after equalization, the entire histogram will be equalized normally over the entire radiometric range. Initially, it is concentrated in this range only, from this to this. But now after histogram equalization, we equalize the pixel values, we equalize the histogram over the entire range, entire radiometric range, starting from the darker pixel to the lighter pixel. Okay. So this is the histogram equalization, means pixels are equally distributed over the radiometric range, and the pixels at the peak are spread apart from the contrast is gained, and the pixel at the tails are grouped where the contrast is lost. So the most of the pixels in this range having good kind of spectral response, or you can say the contrast is gained in this range. This is the histogram equalization. Histogram matching is also a kind of image enhancement techniques in which we convert the histogram of one image to match the histogram of another image. That's known as histogram matching. In that, we match the histogram of both the images to compare the values, to compare the change in the values of the histogram. Okay, so histogram matching can be done on the basis of these rules. Generally, the shape of the histogram should be similar. There may be relative dark light features that should be the same. The spatial resolution should be the same, or it may have same relative distribution of the land cover. Histogram matching rules should be applied. We have to use these rules before doing histogram matching. This is all about the histogram matching. Okay, the histogram matching is very much useful for matching the data of the same or adjacent scene that were scanned on a separate day. Okay, when you are having the same image at different dates, so we can go for the histogram matching, or they are slightly different because of the sun angle or the atmospheric effect. And these histogram matching rules are very much useful for mosaicing or change detection. Okay, so this is very important technique when we are going for change detection analysis, change detection studies, or urban growth mapping, urban growth monitoring. So we can use histogram matching rules to match the images, or to match the histogram of two date images, to see the changes, to see the changes in the histogram at different year, at different time. Okay, so this is the figure showing the way in which we can perform histogram matching. So in input image, we are having some histogram. Now it is matched with the histogram of another image, and output image will be the matched histogram of both the images. So in this range, in this between the range, the histogram of both the images are matched. Okay, in between 100 to around 150, here 50 to 100. So this histogram values will be matched, and the final output image will have the histogram having both the histogram information from the input image and the images that is used for matching the histogram. So this is the way we can perform histogram matching, and it can be used for urban growth mapping, urban growth modeling. If you are having the multi-date images of two different times and you want to see the changes in the urban area, if you want to see the increase in the urban area, so we can use histogram matching for getting the information about the changed urban area, and or how much urban area is increased or decreased in that study area. Thank you very much for today's class. We will discuss next lecture in the next class. Thank you very much.